All right, Shalom. First, like to start by saying all praise to you. How about Shema Shai, by Shemukah Kadash? Double honors to the elders and the apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. As you can see, the title of this video is Toxic Threat Looms Over Eastern Ohio Village After Train Derailment. So I'm going to go ahead and press play on this video and add some precepts. Well, I got like another 2 clips, and then I'm going to add some precepts.
Tonight, a toxic threat looming over this eastern Ohio community just outside Pittsburgh. The volatile and dangerous scene forcing first responders and investigators to stay back as they try to determine how this happened and why.
We have obtained 2 videos which show preliminary indications of mechanical issues on one of the rail car axles.
Some 2,000 residents ordered to evacuate, and tonight, sheriff's deputies are still going door to door, urging residents to get out.
I can't stress enough that if you are in the evacuation zone, you need to leave.
NTSB investigators now say 20 train cars were carrying hazardous materials, 10 of which derailed, though they aren't sure which cars, if any, have been compromised.
I saw this big, huge flame. A police car came up and said, evacuate, evacuate, evacuate.
The massive fire still smoldering as fears grow around dangerous chemicals that were on board. The NTSB says 5 of the cars that derailed were carrying vinyl chloride, which is associated with an increased risk of certain cancers. Officials say air quality and the water supply, which are being monitored, remain safe. But the Ohio EPA says some material entered local waterways before containment measures were in place.
We are not aware of any elevated readings that we would anticipate to have impact to human health.
Tonight, a state of emergency is still in effect, forcing businesses and schools to remain closed.
We are still not conducting any on-scene operations. It's still too volatile of an area.
Megan Fitzgerald, NBC News.
Right, so they're not really going to tell the truth on that situation, especially since it just happened. But the fact that that it's in the waterway before y'all was able to contain it should let you know that it spread, But it's just something to watch. And then a lot of times Esau be doing that shit on purpose, or somebody not doing their job right. That's part of the American society and shit. But it's still prophecy, and it can very much well lead to pestilence. So Yaharatazah, that happens because the more and more these people get killed off, the closer and closer we get to the kingdom. So this is just Bible prophecy.
Hello, 7-Eleven.
I need a pack of condoms and 2 bags of paper towels.
And a state of emergency has been declared overnight in Turkey following a powerful earthquake, which has hit a wide area in the southeast of the country, near to the border with Syria.
Yes, more than 500 people have been killed, more than 3,000 injured. The 7.8 magnitude tremor struck before dawn and was followed by a number of aftershocks. Rescue workers are combing through the rubble of collapsed buildings, where many remain trapped. The tremor was felt as far away as Lebanon and Cyprus.
We're getting new figures all the time. It's clearly a very, very serious situation. Manasseh Rafiq has the latest for us.
As millions slept, the ground shook. Rescuers raced to the scene as the horror quickly emerged. Videos show survivors picking through rubble and collapsed buildings in freezing conditions. The epicenter is close to the Turkish city of Gaziantep, where eyewitnesses describe people rushing towards open spaces as 3 massive tremors hit. Building after building flattened. The governor of one Turkish province says at least 130 buildings are reported to have collapsed in his region alone. The worst damage appears to be across a huge area of southern Turkey and northern Syria, the latter already a region devastated by war and home to millions of refugees living in camps. Turkey lies on major fault lines and is prone to frequent earthquakes. The country has appealed for international help as the full scale of the disaster is yet to be fully realised. Manasseh Rafiq, BBC News.
We can get the very latest now from our Middle East correspondent, Lena Sinjab, who joins us live from Beirut. And Lena, the pictures are terrible. The figures are terrifying. Can you just bring us up to date? Because you felt the earthquake where you are as well.
Definitely, it was really the early hours of the morning, around 3:17, when I just felt my whole building shaking. That felt as if it was going to collapse. Luckily, this didn't happen in this part of the region. As much as Lebanon felt it, it was like hit hard in Turkey and Syria. It all started in the province of Gaziantep in Turkey, and it was like massive scale that shook many buildings, and people are still on the rubble. The rescue operation is ongoing. Turkey has announced a state of an emergency and called for international assistance. This is a country that is, prone to earthquake and have, prepared itself for it. They have the infrastructure, they have the preparation. They've learned it by living it in the past, and yet they're calling for assistance. And northern Syria is a different scenario, because this is an opposition-controlled area with infrastructure that's been damaged and destroyed by government and Russian warplanes over the past decade of the war in Syria, and only a handful of international organizations of Syrian expats and Syrian experts who are trying to help there. Syrian American Medical Association already announced that 6 of its hospitals have been destroyed, and other hospitals are overwhelmed with people. More than 200 people already died there, and 600 are injured. So it's a massive situation in an area that is already poor and is filled with refugees and IDPs, with the little facilities and little infrastructure. On the government side in Syria, they've also announced that the situation is dire. They have more than 200 people announced dead, and just a few minutes ago there were pictures coming in of more buildings collapsing where people are still inside them. So unfortunately, this is a story that we are going to follow over the hours that is coming, with only bad news to come, and hoping for some good news for the rescue operation to help people out of rubbles.
she said with more bad news coming. Give me 1 second. All right. Yeah, because that's the time we're living in, a time of mourning, and people learning that the hard way. The time when the Lord delivers His elect from uh, all the countries and cities that they dwell in, man, and repay the heathen for what they have done to the Israelites, man. The different slaveries that we went through, how all the heathen came together against us to keep us down, keep our nationality from us, man. That's why this stuff is happening. And it ain't gonna be no better days. These days, the days are going to get extremely worse until Yahushua comes and delivers the elect, and then the kingdom is set up, and then it's gonna be all bad for the other nations even more. You know. This Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 4. It says, I'm starting at 1, then I'm gonna jump to 4. To everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven, right? People don't know what season and times we're living in. Even though that they got a feeling that God is on his way back, this, that, and the other, but they still not following the right philosophy. They still just go back to sleep and go about their days. Uh, jump Ecclesiastes 3 and 4, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance. And we're in a time of weeping and in a time of mourning. The Lord set everything like in its proper balance, so to speak. And people have to figure out what times we in. That's why, and all we gonna keep seeing is more and more prophecy, more and more death, until Yahushua get back, man. So it don't matter how much they prepare for this event, they're still not prepared, and it might have been done on purpose, you know. All right, I got one more clip.
Rocks the Middle East, the powerful 7.8 magnitude quake.
And then they just said another earthquake, a second earthquake had hit after the first earthquake. I'm not looking into it, but it's on the BBC News. They just posted it 25 seconds ago. So I'm going to look into that.
Was centered in the southeastern Turkey area near the border with Syria.
CBS News' Elijah Westbrook joins us live from the newsroom with the very latest on the search for survivors. Elijah.
Yeah, Chris and Mary, rescue crews and residents in multiple cities continue to search for survivors, working through tangles of metal and giant piles of concrete. Take a look. Dramatic new video shows the devastation. We're hearing windows shattered. Even buildings like this one you see there on your screen collapse, sending residents into snowy streets. Now, officials say the quake, which lasted about a minute, struck 6 miles near southern Turkey and was felt in Cyprus, Lebanon, and Syria. The natural disaster left young children like this toddler injured who had to be rescued from the rubble. At least 20 aftershocks were felt, according to officials, the strongest measuring at a 6.6. The head of the Turkish Red Cross says it's mobilizing resources for the region and is urging people to evacuate damaged homes. Reports show that area is regularly hit by strong quakes. In fact, Turkey sits on top of major fault lines. More than 18,000 people were killed in powerful quakes that hit the northwest part of the country back in 1999. Now, in a statement, we're learning President Biden has directed federal government partners to assess U.S. response options to help those most impacted. Mary?
Elijah Westbrook. Elijah, thank you.
It's Isaiah chapter 29, verse 6. Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and with tempest and the flame of devouring fire. Right. So these are plagues from Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. Even if they are being sent by the devil, Esau. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence, which is diseases. The cancer can very much well spread and be, Esau lie about everything. It might be just like how they got in the water. If I'm not mistaken, it's called chromium 6. I haven't heard of that one in a minute, but chromium 6 in the water, which causes cancer. And then you got the chemtrails, and then this event and stuff. All these different events is killing people off, to help bring in, to help put the cap on the New World Order. Because, like the Apostle said, we had already started the New World Order around 1933, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not going to go into that right now. But yeah, Esau already got chemtrails. The food already is contained with chemicals because it's not real that cause cancer. Everything is causing cancer and killing people off. So that very much well could have been done intentionally for that specific area, Hey, but it's still prophecy, man. Let me read it again. Matthew 24 and 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, which is a lack of food, and pestilence, which is diseases, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows, right? And we're coming to the end of sorrows, man, because all this stuff has been going on for years now, and you know, all the Middle East is in an uproar from all the protests, and on top of all the wars and all the migrations and stuff going on. And then, you know, they already got the RFID chip out, which is the MOTB. It just hasn't been made mandatory. So really, everything is happening to a certain degree. You know, probably like at the what 8.5 level out of 10 type situation. But you know, you get what I'm saying. All right, this is Second Ezra chapter. Hold on, give me 1 second. Chapter 15, verse 5. It says, "Behold, says the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Right, man? So it's time for judgment, you know, and this judgment is going to be happening until Yahweh Shema Shai come back. It ain't gonna be no stopping, man. And you know, with that being said, call Allah Yahweh Shema Shai. Double honors to the elders and the apostles that were well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.
How to bring back deleted photos, videos, files in your gallery from